All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Monday, the 21st, and we are live right now. We are live, and I want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. I just want to make sure we are live everywhere. Where are we at? Yep, we should be good. All right. What's going on, everybody? Hey, please help me out. Help me share this video. Help me get the word out. We're going to talk about free speech. Free speech is still under attack. Free speech is still something that the being abused. Free speech is, put it this way. I've always believed in free speech. I've always said free speech should be allowed no matter what. And I've always said that free speech starts when you say something that I don't like. Does that make sense? I mean, you should be able to say everything that I don't like, and you should have the right to say what you want to say. Of course, without, calling for violence or anything like that. That's you're abusing it, right? Because that's what we're seeing that the left is doing right now. They're taking stuff to the extreme. But as I said, when you say something that I don't like, you have the freedom to say it. Like, people, put it this way. When people would say stuff about me constantly, and they would leave, comments in my posts or my videos, these leftists would leave comments all the time. And I would go in there and I would engage with them because they're saying stuff like sometimes they're really nasty comments. And I would go in there and I would engage with them. And I have the conversation with them. But my mods and my producer, they would see these comments and they would see that I'm even having conversations with them, and they would just block the person and delete everything that was said. And I get it, because the reason why that would happen is because they would delete it because these people, their only purpose was just to bring a negative rating against me wherever I was posting my videos and my content. So they were helping me out. I didn't complain about it. For me, I always like having the conversations with them because people should be able to say what they want to say. The problem that we come into is that the left, they don't believe that you should have the First Amendment rights. They don't believe that you should be able to believe and think a certain way. And, this is something I was thinking about over the weekend. And it actually has something to do with, freedom of speech and our rights in this country. And so think about this. I was thinking about maybe doing a video on it, and I still just might. You remember back in the 1950s, 1940s, even 1960s, even when people went to a certain water fountain, what did they tell you? Like, I couldn't use certain water fountains, right? Because the Democrats during that time would not allow me to use certain water fountains. They said, no, you can't use this water fountain or a restroom, right? They put signs up and said, told me which restroom that I could use or which water fountain that I could use. And I would imagine that if the water fountain that I could use at the time was working and the other water fountain that I could not use, if it broke, they would just take the sign from the broke water fountain and put it on the other water fountain that is working and says, you can't use that water fountain. I'm pretty sure a lot of that went on. And the reason what I was thinking about that over the weekend is that today, with all of these people telling you that you should not be able to own a Tesla, right? Or you should not be able to own an Armalite rifle. Do you know what that is, Shannon? You know what an Armalite rifle is? It's an AR-15. Armalite. They believe that you should not be able to own one. And actually, they don't believe that you should be able to own any. But you see the similarities. They did the same thing back then, and they want everybody to believe that the party switched and everything changed, but nothing has changed with them other than their tactics, the way they're doing stuff, the way they're getting people to be controlled. And they're not even hiding the fact that's what they're doing. They're not even hiding it. They're all about it. You can own XYZ. And I'm like, dude, this is so bizarre. I mean, they have the nerve, the audacity to tell you what kind of vehicle you can and cannot own. You know, before they were trying to force everybody into an EV, right? Force you got to get electrical vehicle. You got to get electric vehicle. No more gas guzzling vehicles. Now, if you get an electric vehicle, they have a problem with you, especially, well, only if it's a Tesla, of course. They get upset with you because if you purchase a Tesla, then they want to remove you, or they don't believe that you should be able to have access to even purchase a Tesla. It's pretty bizarre and it's pretty sad. All right, let me get on with some of this other stuff. Hey, if you haven't already, please bless me by hitting the thumbs up. Please share this video. Share this video. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Free speech. You know, when it comes to free speech, the Democrats have been able to control the speech in the country, especially when it comes to social media. If you went on social media and you said something that they disagreed with, then they put in all these policies, and the federal government was actually in cahoots or in connection with the tech companies, and they were censoring people from talking about certain topics. Like if you brought up certain things that they didn't want you to talk about because you just might learn something or you might get more information or it wasn't the narrative that they were pushing, the federal government went to the big tech companies to have that information shut down. And it's all free speech. And a lot of people would constantly come to me in the past. They would say, Will Johnson, but these are private companies. If they want to remove, certain content or certain topics from their platform, they have every right to do so. And at the time, and with my not understanding everything, because obviously they didn't understand everything either. But I kind of agreed. I said, there's a private company. But then when we found out that the federal government was going to these big tech companies to censor free speech, all of that went out the window. That went out the window. So I'm not sure how, you notice, no one should be able to say that today, but people still say it. But when the federal government gets involved, all that went out the window. So I don't want to hear anyone saying, well, they're a private company. They should be able to block whatever, they can block whatever they want. Not when the government is coming in and telling them to block people. All of it's out the window. Let me give you an example. Let's say you and I are walking down the aisle of a grocery store and we're having a conversation. We're not yelling it out loud. We're just kind of walking while we're looking at the different merchandise on the shelf and we're picking up, looking at it, reading the ingredients, XYZ. Some of it, we already know what it is. We just put it in the cart. But while we're walking down, you and I, we're having a conversation about some of the stuff that's happening in our world. Politics, religion. Someone coming the opposite way, just by chance, like, land on our page or land on our video or land on my post. And they look and they see the content that we are talking about. And they're hearing us talking about it in the grocery store. What do? They don't like the conversation. So they go and find the store manager. Then the store manager are the owner of the store. And they say, I don't like the conversation that they're having. I don't like what they're talking about. You need to ban them from the store. This is exactly the same thing that's happening when it comes to the big tech companies. You need to ban them. You need to suppress them. If they come in your store, you need to tell them not to have those conversations, even though the person didn't hear it until they walked past you. Just like on social media, people don't know what Will Johnson is all about until they walk past my page and they hear something or they see something. Does this make sense to anybody? But this is exactly the same thing. So essentially, people were saying, yep, well, it's a private store. You're having a conversation. Of course, you weren't yelling. I'm not yelling. But someone walks by and they hear it. Well, same thing in a restaurant. If you're at a table in a restaurant and the people sit next to you, I'm sorry, but I don't like the conversation that they're having. Or someone that's working there come by and say, I don't like this conversation. You can't have this conversation here. I'm going to ask you to stop. Even though you're not being loud, you're just having a conversation between the two people and they only hear it when you come close. They only see and hear what Will Johnson is saying is when they come on my page, come on my channel. That's the only time they hear it. But the very fact that they know that I support America, the very fact that they know that I support President Trump and that I would like to buy a Tesla truck, a cyber truck. My producer, she doesn't like them, but I like them. The very fact that I say these things, they want to silence me. They want to silence you. What happened to free speech being free? What happened to them being tolerant? What happened to them saying that, everyone should be able to say what they want to say and live the way they want to live? Not according to the left. According to the left, you can only say and think and believe what they want you to believe and think. And they're demonstrating that, and we're seeing more and more of it. More and more of it. It's actually increasing. It's intensifying. They're not happy right now. So what do? They come out and they lie about everything more than they were lying before. I used to wonder, because I have conversations with people that are Democrats, and I said, so I can show you the truth, and then I can tell you the truth and then show it to you, and then you still believe the lie. Why is that the case? How many of y'all experience people like that? You tell them the truth and they argue with you, and then you show it to them, and then they say, well, you know what, but I'm still going to believe the lie. How many people experience that with others? It's happening on an alarming rate, more than we ever seen before. More than we ever seen before. Let me say this. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for today. Lord Jesus, thank you for giving me the capability, a voice to glorify you. Lord Jesus, help all of those that seek your face, Lord Jesus. Help all of those that need your assistance. We all need you, Lord Jesus. We're seeking you. Lord Jesus, I want to give all of those that disagree with me an understanding. I pray for them, Lord. I want you to bless them, Lord. Bless them to where they can wake up and see the truth, to know that you are the true living God. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for everything and for our great nation and our leaders that are leading this nation. With that said, let me share this one with you. Here's Chuck Schumer going on MSDNC, or this is the Meet the Press, NBC, and just blatantly lying. How many of you think that we are in a constitutional crisis? Are we in a constitutional crisis? We are a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. But Chuck Schumer, he agrees with her saying that we're in a constitutional crisis. And if we're in a constitutional crisis, what is their next step? If they truly believe that we are in a constitutional crisis, what is their next step? Because, Chuck Schumer, he just came out last week and said that they actually put judges on the federal bench around the country for the sole purpose of stopping President Trump from doing positive things in this country. He said that. And now they're trying to say that we're in a constitutional crisis and our democracy is in trouble.
Do you agree, is the United States in a constitutional crisis?
Yes, I do, Kristen, and democracy is at risk. Look, Donald Trump is a lawless, angry man. He thinks he should be king. He thinks he should do whatever he wants, regardless of the law. And he thinks judges should just listen to him. Now, we have to fight that back in every single way.
So he said judges should have to listen to him, is what he's saying, that President Trump believed that all judges should have to listen to him. Why are judges even getting involved? Just like I told y'all last week, he came out and admitted that they put these judges in for the sole purpose of stopping Trump. Trump is actually deporting people from this country that are hardened criminals, and they're fighting President Trump on that. Make that make sense. The Democrat Party, they're not the party for the American people. They're actually the party for Satan. The Democrat Party is pushing all of this evilness in the world. Now, I just pray for the people in this crazy world to be blessed. But that goes to, in order for them to be blessed, my personal opinion on this is for them to actually start doing the right thing. lying like Chuck Schumer's doing. I mean, I pray that Chuck Schumer wakes up one day and he sees the truth and he stops doing all what he's doing. But I don't know if that's going to happen with Chuck Schumer. I pray that he does. Just like some of these other politicians, all they do is lie. And the reason why that is the case is because they all listen to Satan. Every last one of them. They listen to Satan.
And well, it's so irresponsible for them to do this, to get on there. These people, people look to them for the truth of what's happening in our government. And a lot of people are ignorant of the Constitution. They're ignorant of what's really happening, but they will hear his words. And then literally, I feel like they're weaponizing their words to create hate in the world and strife in the world, and for people to want to hurt the president of the United States. You don't always have to say the words, go after Trump and hurt him. Sometimes you incite violence by the words that you say. When you know that people feel threatened and you say those words to them, they may do something that they normally would not have intended to do. This is so irresponsible. This to me.
But you know what? I think they actually are intending for people to do that.
And you could actually.
I think that's the whole point, because they're going out here to basically fear mongering, getting people to get worked up. So then that way people will go, oh my goodness, look what's happening. We've got to do X, Y, Z. We've got to stop Trump. We've got to stop Trump. I'm telling you right now, I see it happening right now. I see it happening right now. It's pretty wild. Like, listen, here's Chuck Schumer. Listen to Chuck Schumer here. And this was, huh? Yeah, this is a flashback. You remember Brett Kavanaugh? Remember how he felt about Brett Kavanaugh?
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
I mean, come on. Y'all remember that? You remember that? How many Republicans have you seen do the same thing Chuck Schumer has done? How many Republicans have you seen do that? I've yet to see a single Republican come out there and do that, because if a Republican did that, of course, all of the liberal media outlets, they would be playing it on repeat. Even if it's not even related to the topic, they will replay it. They'll say, oh, look what this Republican said. Look what this Republican said. But what do? They take what President Trump said and they twist it. They leave out key detail. Remember, there's fine people on both sides, but leave out the key detail where he denounced the white supremacists. Leave that out. Nope, we don't want people to see that. We just want to show this and manipulate the people. The media constantly manipulates people. And this is the reason why their ratings are so low right now. This is the reason why a lot of people are not even watching them any longer. It's pretty disgusting. It really is. It really is. And of course, now some of these Democrats, and I talked about this last week, how the DNC is trying to pressure GOP members to have a town hall meeting. And here's a town hall meeting that was, here's CNN talking about a town hall meeting that a Democrat was having. And apparently the pro-Hamas Palestinian terror supporters show up to the town hall meeting of this Democrat protesting. And so what does Jake the Snake do? And then Chuck Todd, they take that as if these are not paid protesters just to go after Republicans. See, it's happening everywhere. But let me bring something to your attention that I talked about last week and the week before that. Actually, I've been talking about it for months. Shannon, you remember I told you what's happening because, Bernie Sanders says that maybe they need to create a new party inside the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party currently is collapsing.
Right.
They're so low in the ratings. And they looked and they saw what President Trump did with the MAGA Party.
Right.
Right. How the MAGA Party came out of the Republican Party. Yeah. And now it's basically what's happening here is that the Republican Party went back to its roots. That's what President Trump did. He took the Republican Party and took it back to its roots. That's what he did.
Yeah, it gave it new life.
He gave
new
the original Republican
Right.
Party its life back. And see, the establishment Republicans, they didn't want that. The Democrats, they most definitely didn't want that, because the original Republican Party was the party that freed black people. It was the party that actually wanted to help black people out when slavery was over with reparations, and the Democrats went to the Supreme Court and overturned it. A lot of people don't know that. The Republican Party, they were the ones championing for women to vote, for black people to vote, to end segregation. The Republican Party was the party that was for civil rights. The Democrat Party was against everything that benefited the American people, everything. And now, just like I told you, Shannon, how Bernie Sanders, I saw this coming. I said, you know what? They're going to end up doing it. They're going to end up trying to do it, create a different party within inside of the Democrat Party. And all it's going to do is become more radical. That's all it is. But listen to Chuck Todd, because he actually just proved what I've been saying.
From Illinois, his town hall was shut down by local police after the pro-Palestinian protesters. Here's what he had to say to CNN earlier today.
We're going to have to be much more deferential to what the local police feel is a safe way to do the town hall. But I think it's important for us to continue to make sure that we have these avenues for civil discourse and disagreement. You know, many of my colleagues who are either not inviting anybody who disagrees with them into the room, which, as you can tell, is not something that we do, or choosing not to have them at all.
So first of all, we're going to have to be much more deferential what local police feel. Good thing they didn't defund them, but that's a separate issue, I suppose. What's going on here? This is not obviously just activists. It's obviously just liberal big money funders doing this.
No, this is real. I think we've seen this growing, and, first we saw it on the right, and then you've seen it play itself out. Now you're seeing it on the left.
You see this? He's talking about the MAGA party. He's saying it happened on the right, right? What he's saying here is that we saw it happen on the right because the establishment Republicans, they lost control of the Republican Party, and now the MAGA Republicans have control over it. And they don't like it. They're upset about it. Even remember before they were saying this is no longer your father's Republican Party. Remember they used to say that all the time? Because they became all about the establishment. Same, one bird, two wings of the same party, basically, right? Two parties, same bird. But President Trump, instead of him staying on one side of the wings, President Trump got in the middle of that bird and causing that bird to fly where he wants it to go. And that's what they don't like. Now you have Chuck Todd even saying it. Listen to him here. Listen carefully, because he's even saying that they need to do the same thing with the Democrat Party.
We've seen this growing, and first we saw it on the right, and then you've seen it play itself out. Now you're seeing it on the left, where I do think that the establishment wing of the party's got to worry about a liberal Tea Party that's coming. There seems to be this anger of do something, and like I said, it was a similar thing that ended up fueling Trump and Trumpism over a 10-year period. So, one of the warnings...
do something.
Right.
Home appliance repairs can be unexpected and expensive. So how do you protect?
A lot of times, it's so funny that you heard that one guy say, Mitch McConnell was so effective.
Okay, listen to this.
Sorry about that. That was my
bad. Yeah. Okay. So did you catch what he said? Did you catch what he said? What did he say? A liberal Tea Party?
Yep.
A left-wing Tea Party?
Yep.
And let me take it back.
Liberal Tea Party.
A liberal Tea Party.
Where I do think that the establishment wing of the party's got
the establishment wing of the party. Look, same thing I've been saying, but now they're saying that they need to create this in the Democrat Party. Listen.
Where I do think that the establishment wing of the party's got to worry about a liberal Tea Party that's coming. There seems to be this anger of do something. And like I said, it was a similar thing that ended up fueling Trump and Trumpism.
This is exactly what I've been saying for months. This is because look, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, maybe we need to do the same thing. And he's saying that the Democrat establishment should be fearful of a liberal Tea Party. Because the Democrats, the thing is, the liberal Tea Party that he's referring to is Bernie Sanders, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, the most extreme,
right?
radical liberals you can think of.
It's not the same.
And it's not the same.
It's
See,
not the same.
the MAGA Republican Party, MAGA
back
country, we want this country to be great. We want everybody into the country to prosper. We want everyone to be able to have a job if you want a job. We want everybody to get an education if you want an education. This is what the MAGA Republican Party is all about. This is what it's all about. Everyone can live their lives and make money. And take care of your family, take care of your children. If you want to go and buy a new Tesla, you can. This is what the MAGA Republican Party is all about. But his liberal Tea Party, they're going to be the most radical, the most despicable thing you could ever imagine.
Over a 10-year period. So, one of the warnings...
The do something argument.
Right. Whatever the do something is, even if it means banging your head against a wall, which a lot of times... It's so funny that you heard that one guy say, Mitch McConnell was so effective at doing all these things. He didn't stop Obamacare. He didn't stop, there wasn't many things he could really do when he didn't have the votes.
Yeah.
So, and this is a case where Democrats don't have the votes. I will say this, social media is pretty coarse. And our entire way that we communicate
you're
now,
going to get help on Twitter for that.
Oh my God, for saying that social media is coarse. And the only thing I would say is it does, for a lot of times we used to say, oh, all the anger is only on social media.
No,
we're actually now we're seeing it. And you wonder, is this a 20-year, as we have sort of erased decorum online, we now have completely erased decorum in person as well?
You know what, though? Here's the problem. Socialism has never really worked here in America, and it's not going to.
No.
So, yes, they might be rallying up and might be fueling some excitement, but you know what it's going to end up doing? It's going to end up dividing the party, and it's going to end up helping take them down. Trump was able to unite the party. And not only that, but he was able to bring independents and Democrats into the fold.
Right. I think it was a battle to make that happen, because you even have Mitch McConnell, even as of now, where he's like having he has some kind of issue, something going on. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to, but he has something going on, right? But every opportunity he tries to get in the way of President Trump. That's why you have the establishment like Adam Kissinger, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, and there's a few other ones, Dan Crenshaw, these establishment rhino Republicans that believe that they're trying to hang on to that establishment. Right? They're trying to hang on to it. They're trying to hang on to that establishment Republican Party. But President Trump, what he did, he exposed them, and the American people saw what was happening, and we as Americans, we sided with the actual roots of the Republican Party, which is the MAGA Republican Party. America first.
It's funny.
It's really a no-brainer. It's America first.
Trump is a historical person. There's not ever anybody like him, nor will there ever be another person like him. He was able to win the heart of America, not just Republicans, but also Democrats and independents. But not only that, he's won the hearts of people around the world going, oh my gosh, our governments have gotten away from us. The bureaucracy and the one world system and all these things that are trying to be created are not what we want our country to be. And so it's interesting because the Democrats don't have anything like that. Bernie Sanders is not that kind of a figure. Neither is AOC. This is temporary because people are feeling frustrated with the party. But if they're not going to go back to their roots, if they're not going to, saying that we're against oligarchy, which is apparently what they're told their tour is all about. Well, they are the party of oligarchy.
Yeah, they are.
You're fighting against something you already are. Unless you restructure your party and talk about the people and their needs and how you're going to impact it, you're not going to go anywhere. They are falling apart, and they're going to continue to fall apart. I don't even think Bernie Sanders and AOC are going to go very far. Do you?
I don't. Especially, there's been videos, AOC and Bernie Sanders had an event in Arizona. And after having that event in Arizona, they they did the traffic.
To see how many people were there, kind of
Yeah,
thing?
they did the geo-traffic, mobile devices, how many, because they can do it with the mobile devices, because everyone's mobile device, regardless, they show up and they show that information. Well, come to find out, I think they said 84%, don't hold me to the exact number, but it was a high number like that, 84% of the people that showed up there, that 84% were the same people that showed up to Kamala Harris. So, and the thing is, they try to tell everyone that this is grassroots and they're bringing more people out. They're bringing people that never supported, never showed their enthusiasm for the country the way they are now. But everyone that showed up was the same people that was there for Kamala Harris.
Did they say how many people showed up? Because I didn't see crowd size.
They were saying that 30,000 people showed up is what they were saying. But out of that 30,000, supposedly 84% they were already going to be there anyways. And then they said 20% of it, 20%, I guess the remainder of it were kind of like bussed in or, brought there to make, just in case.
What they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they're running the same campaign that they did with Kamala Harris. They're saying the same things that they said with Kamala Harris. They're pushing the same agenda that they said with Kamala Harris. Nothing has changed with them. And it's that whole thing. Keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's the Democrat Party. 100%. That is the Democrat Party. Listen to this one. So this one they're talking about, of course, Chuck Schumer again. And I meant to play this one before I played the last one. But they're talking about Chuck Schumer, talking about our country is in a constitutional crisis. Now, I can't recall the last time. Maybe y'all can help me in the comments. I can't recall the last time that the Democrats actually cared about the U.S. Constitution. Every time in the past, the Democrats, when it comes to the Constitution, they said, well, the Constitution needs to be rewritten. It's an old document. It's out of date. They just want to do away with it altogether. They've even gone as far as saying that the Constitution was racist against black people when it's actually not. It's not. But listen.
It's interesting to hear Senator Schumer, Leader Schumer, talk about a constitutional crisis. There are some Democrats who, of course, agree with him and are really worried by these attacks. You think of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court saying in that extraordinary statement that the right way to do this is through the appellate process and not through impeaching judges. But I also have been talking to some Democrats, younger Democrats, who are worried that if Democrats are saying it's a constitutional crisis now, if President Trump moves to impeach Supreme Court justices, if he pushes back in some other way that is even worse than what they're seeing now, that this language could become a little too hard to navigate, and that there wouldn't be language to ratchet it up.
Yeah, Adrian, what about that point? Could this language around constitutional crisis be getting ahead of the curve and basically giving away some key cards too early in the fight? Well,
did y'all hear what she just said? Did y'all hear what she just said? She said, could this be like giving away key? How does she say it?
Ahead of the curve and basically point. Could this language around constitutional crisis be getting ahead of the curve and basically giving away some key cards?
Giving away some key cards. That's what I was looking for. Giving away some key cards. Like you're giving it, you're like playing your hand too soon about pushing this. I mean, do you hear what they're saying? I don't even think they realize what they are like mouthing off right now, being the mouth breathers they are.
Yeah, it's like this is our talking point and we're going to use it.
We're going to push. It's almost like, remember what was the governor's name in, was it Arizona or New Mexico? I can't remember, but it was one of the governors saying that they were going to suspend this.
New Mexico.
The New Mexico. They were going to suspend the Second Amendment of the Constitution for, I think they said for like 30 days or so. 30 days or 90 days. I can't remember exactly. But she said they were going to do that. Well, what ended up happening, you had a whole bunch of other Democrats come out and say, no, you played this card too soon. You played it too soon. We don't want to do this just yet. Not yet. Same thing here. They're talking about a constitutional crisis, which in actuality, the Democrats want to suspend the Constitution. Just like she played her hand too soon on that. talking about suspending just parts of the Constitution is the way she was saying it. And now here, they're wanting to suspend all of the Constitution.
Too early in the fight.
Well, exactly. And I think Misha's exactly right. I think we have to be very careful when we use this type of language. You could certainly make the argument, especially when Trump defied the courts on the movement of illegal aliens. You can make the argument that he is defying the courts, and that could lead us into a constitutional crisis. But I don't think that we're there yet. And I think we have to be extremely careful how we use this language.
So I guess my question is that President Trump, being executive branch, he does an executive order, or he gives an order to remove hardened criminals. He's not picking up American citizens and deporting them out the country. They're gathering hardened criminals, people that shouldn't be in the country in the first place, people that are not American citizens. These aren't even people here on visa and green cards. These evil Democrats, they're advocating for hardened criminals. I don't know how many times I can even say that before people even realize exactly what's happening here. And that's one thing that frustrates me with the liberal media. They know that these people have committed crimes already, but yet they don't say anything about, well, at least he's not deporting American citizens. And these Democrats, they're fighting more for people that have committed crimes than they are Americans. They're not even fighting for Americans. And they go, but Will Johnson, you all about all the employees for USAID and all the other government jobs. You're not fighting for them. These people that were working these government jobs, that the judges are stepping in as well and trying to tell President Trump that he can't fire them. They have been lazy. They have not been doing their jobs. And we've all voted President Trump in. There's a mandate for President Trump to drain the swamp, to get rid of all of the wasteful spending, to get rid of all of the fat. We voted for President Trump to do this very thing. Now, just because President Trump is eliminating these wasteful jobs, is what I'm calling them, wasteful jobs that Joe Biden and the Democrats put into place, try to make their job numbers look better. Just because he's doing it, well, maybe if you would have won the election, then this wouldn't be happening. But the election came from the mandate of the American people. Majority of the American people, mind you, not just some of them, but majority of the American people wanted what President Trump is currently doing. And there's no buyer's remorse. These idiot Democrats keep saying this, buyer's remorse. I'm so upset. MAGA Republicans are so upset with President Trump for what he's doing. Really? Show me an actual MAGA Republican that's upset with what President Trump is doing. Show me one. You're not going to find one. Now, you get some liberal come out there lying, because, you know, liberals, that all they do is lie in the first place. That's all they do. Talking about abusing free speech. You remember just last week or the week before, I think it was last week, where you had Jasmine Crockett. She's calling for some eventful things to happen on her birthday. And that's on the 29th, right? Is it the 29th?
Yep.
On the 29th. She's asking for some events to happen on the 29th. But then she turns around and says, look, I'm not being violent. I'm not calling for violence. But then what she said was she wants people to go out and be violent. She didn't say it just like that. Of course she didn't. Let me ask y'all a question. I'm looking in the chat. I'm looking on pill.net. I'm looking in Facebook. I'm looking on YouTube. And I'm looking on Rumble. I'm looking on X. Let me ask y'all a question. For anyone who want to participate in this. When they say show up for her birthday and take down Tesla, what is she saying? What is that? Now, she actually said those words. And I'm pretty sure everyone's aware of it by now. Jasmine Crockett actually said those words. Take down Tesla. So I'm asking y'all, and of course, I'm looking in there. I'm looking at the chats. What does it mean? Does that mean, oh, everything's on fire, the Tesla building's on fire behind everybody, and CNN goes out there, but it's mostly peaceful? And I don't understand, what does the Tesla dealerships have to do with anything? The people working there want to keep their jobs, and all these Democrats keep screaming, talking about, oh my goodness, Elon Musk, he's crushing all these jobs. But so you find it a good thing to go to the Tesla dealerships and try to end people's jobs there? Make that make sense. Well, of course, Jasmine Crockett, she had to come out and speak after, of course, Pam Bondi. She's on Pam Bondi's radar. She's a sitting member of Congress, and she's spewing violence. Now, personally, I don't think anyone's above the law. You remember, have you heard that before? No one's above the law. So when you incite violence, and if something happens violently, no matter where in the country, at a Tesla event or even to a Tesla vehicle, person riding in the Tesla, anything happens, she needs to be held responsible because she's calling for it on her birthday. Like she wants the ultimate birthday gift for a demonic demon. Listen to what she says here.
Just in case the slow people listening decide to click this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet
Oh, really? 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 And then she says, the slow people. And I'm asking y'all again, and I see, thank you so much for commenting. Take down Tesla on her birthday? What does that mean again? What does that mean again? So who's actually slow here? Who's slow?
I also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th.
Oh, here we go.
So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
When Pam Bondi, though, says, tread carefully, what does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that she's attempting to get me to say, oh, I'm going to be scared and I'm just not going to say anything because they are willing to literally break the law. I mean, that's what we've seen them do. They are ignoring court orders. They are ignoring what our own laws are. When we look at things such as impoundment, things like that, this entire administration is rogue. And this isn't about partisanship. I keep trying to tell people that we are living in the time of good versus evil, right versus wrong.
So do these Democrats actually believe that they're on the side of good? Look what they're trying to do to children. Look what they're trying to do to our society. See, a person like Jasmine Crockett is what I believe the Bible's referred to, a person who's been turned over to a reprobate mind. And what does that mean? That means all of the evil, wicked things that they are doing, they believe they're good and they're justified. She supports everything that's wicked under the sun. Name one thing, and I encourage everybody, name one thing that is evil that they don't support. Just one. You can't find anything. The Democrat Party supports everything evil under the sun. There's not a single thing that they don't support. Now, of course, you get a few here and there saying, well, I support the Democrat Party, but I don't support, this about the party or support that about the party. But if you remind them who they voted for, you actually do support it because as a whole what the Democrat Party is all about. And yet you go vote for it. Well, here's Pam Bondi talking a little bit about Jasmine Crockett.
We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country. And it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country. Well,
it needs to. But of course, the Democrats, they don't see it that way when they don't get something that they're not happy with. We want this, we want that. And their words, when they don't get what they want, what happens? I mean, it's the same thing. It's not even a trick question. We've seen it throughout history. This is the only reason why I know it. Because I see them all the time, every single time. They go out there and they protest and they protest and they protest. And when they realize that they're not going to get what they want, guess what they do next? They just don't go screaming still. They become violent. They do. It's just like clockwork for them. Now, see, conservatives, Republicans, MAGA Republicans, MAGA extreme Republicans, when we don't get what we want, we don't go down and burn down cities. We don't do it. And then, of course, Jasmine Crockett and the rest of the Democrats, they always bring up J6. And because they love J6, it's like Groundhog Day for them. It's like Christmas. Oh, my goodness, we love this day. We love this day. And then they lie about what took place that day. They straight up lie about what takes place that day or what took place that day. They straight up lie about it. They believe that they can still convince people like, oh, my goodness, what happened on J6? You know, we just had an election where they constantly pushed that. Y'all remember that? They constantly say, oh, my goodness, you shouldn't vote for President Trump. Insurrectionists. Insurrectionists. They kept screaming it. Everything that you can think of, they kept saying President Trump was this, he's that, he's this, he's that. You can't support him. And overwhelmingly, the American people voted President Trump in. Overwhelmingly. But of course, the Democrats, they don't seem to grasp reality, so they're not capable of understanding that they lost and how they lost and why they lost. You know, it's kind of like the whole thing right now where they haven't been saying it here lately because, you know, the price of eggs went down. But something dawned on me how they were screaming about the price of eggs. And, oh, President Trump said he's going to bring down the price of eggs. Why the price of eggs are so high? And it's like they didn't know, or if they did know, they don't understand that eggs came from chicken. You know, because, you know, there was millions and millions of chickens that were slaughtered for, you know, shouldn't have been slaughtered. But nonetheless, they were under the Biden regime. And then all of a sudden we get an egg shortage. But the Democrats are unable to make the connection. Shortage of chickens. Well, now we have a shortage of eggs. But we'll just blame Trump. You can't make it up. You cannot make it up. But we see it happen all the time. Okay, I want to share something else. So here's the Democrats complaining about President Trump deporting hardcore illegal criminals out of the country. And President Trump put a statement out, and they're upset because President Trump is actually calling for these rogue judges to be impeached. You know, the same judges that Chuck Schumer put in position to simply fight Trump. They're not even there to uphold the law. They're not, these judges, these rogue judges are not there to make sure that the Constitution is upheld as well. Right? The law. They're not there for that reason. They're there to make up laws for themselves. They're there to stop Trump from deporting people, criminals that should not be in the country. Listen.
So, Lulu, you know, Trump has just posted something. Just read you what he posted. The 14th Amendment right of American citizenship never had anything to do with modern day gate crashers, illegal immigrants who break the law by being in our country. It had everything to do with giving citizenship to former slaves. Our founding fathers are spinning in their graves at the idea that our country could be taken away from us. No nation in the world has anything like this. Our lawyers and judges have to be tough and protect America. I mean, they just came out and said it there, right? There is remarkably little ambiguity in that, Lulu.
There is, and I think that's the wider context within which, you know, all of this is playing out, that we're seeing Donald Trump, his administration really just trying to go at this in as many different ways as they can. I mean, I don't know what your group chats look like, but anyone who's traveling internationally is being told now, don't, you know, take a burner phone, you know, make sure that you don't have anything on there that the government can look at. I mean, that is stuff that used to happen to me when I was a foreign correspondent when I go to Venezuela.
Wait a minute, is she saying that the United States of America is becoming a communist nation? What is she suggesting here? That the federal government is going to be spying on American citizens? Wait a minute. Can we have a conversation with Obama?
Well,
I mean, the NSA I mean, can we have that discussion?
Today you just had the guy that did the fake document for the FISA courts to spy on
President Trump. Yeah.
Right. He just got a slap on the hands.
On the
he
wrist.
Got 12 months probation.
Slap on the wrist, 12 months probation, going to go to some office and file some paperwork, sit on his phone all day, and that's it.
Yeah, he got 400 hours of community service.
Yeah, that's all you're going to do, the community service. That's it.
But that's the thing. Yeah, people are actually fearing this right now. And it's funny that they say Trump's trying to come at this in all different ways. No, he's been pretty consistent about, one, what it originally was for, which is absolutely true. They're the ones that are trying to change the narrative, just like they tried to change the Bible to fit how they want it to relate to today, right? Doing the same thing with the Constitution. These people are the ones that took down statues. They're the ones that want to rewrite history or eliminate history so you're not aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they always do. Listen to this.
Take a burner phone. Make sure that you don't have anything on there that the government can look at. I mean, that is stuff that used to happen to me when I was a foreign correspondent, when I go to Venezuela, when I went to Russia. This is not something that would happen in the United States of America. And the reason it doesn't happen here is because we have protections for people to have dissent. And so the question is, why is all this happening? Most Americans would say, well, what does it matter if these people get put on a plane? What does it matter if these purges happen? What does it all mean? But it matters because what is happening is the government is really trying to take a lot of power for itself and is trying to intimidate people and make sure that they don't speak out.
What? See, this is the problem. This is the problem when it comes to these liberals. Instead of them going and saying, you know what? Joe Biden should have never allowed these people to come into the country in the first place. And we wouldn't be having a discussion right now about President Trump removing them. Not a single judge right now that's fighting President Trump, not a single one of them, stood up or said anything when Joe Biden was bringing them into the country, flying them into the country, allowing the border to be open. Not a single one of them did a lawsuit and said, look, he's not upholding the federal law. It's a federal offense for someone to just walk into the country, come through the front door, come the proper way. But Joe Biden and the Democrats, they all said, nope, we're not going to care about any of that. We're just going to bring people in. We're going to fly them into the country. We're going to fly them to various states and various locations to try to make a difference in the... See, a lot of people thought that they were just bringing them in so they can just turn them into Democrats, but they can't do that. They brought them in for the Electoral College because the Electoral College, they count the number of bodies, not the number of American citizens. So if you bring enough bodies and put them into a location, that Electoral College number goes up. A lot of people don't know that. Did you know that? Did y'all know that? Oh, that's the reason why they were bringing them in. And not a single one of these judges had anything to say about it. They were completely silent. They were waiting until President Trump got into office, so then that way they can fight President Trump. Every last one of these judges should be removed because they're not adhering to the Constitution. They're not. And the very fact that Chuck Schumer opened his pie hole and said something, he let the cat out the bag. They should be removed. They should be impeached. Stop playing around with it. Right? I can't stand that. Prolong this. Well, you can't do this. We need to sit back. And see, that's what that judge was trying to do. The judge was trying to get them to turn the planes back around and then have all these hardened criminals where you got to release them. You got to release them until we can evaluate them. And then when they release them back into the country, they'll be back in the country doing God knows what. And the Democrats don't care because it is a demonic spirit. People, I'm still saying this and I still believe this, that we are truly living in the last days. And a lot of people don't want to see that. Will Johnson, they've been saying that forever. Well, we are experiencing different events that the Bible told us that we will be experiencing during the last days. We're seeing it like the fig tree. We're seeing it happen. And my producer just got this one. Now, of course, this is all about them abusing free speech. And then, of course, the yellow canary here is saying that she's not for any violence and she would never call for violence. And don't forget, if you own a Tesla right now, maybe you should park it in the garage on March 29th because the police officers can't be everywhere. And since she's calling a nationwide takedown of Tesla, hey, I didn't say it, she did. Well, listen to what she says here about her being, but she's peaceful. She's the peaceful one.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But it's Ted Cruz. I mean, this dude has to be knocked over the head, hard, right? There is no niceties with him, at all. You go clean off on him, right?
Really?
Did that sound like?
It sounds like a ghetto trash.
Man.
Sounds like ghetto trash, a hood rat.
See, this is irresponsible.
And
this
it is irresponsible. She's a
violence.
congresswoman and she's saying this.
Yes.
If Ted Cruz said this about her, you know what would be happening right now? Censorship. They would censor him in Congress, in the Senate. They would censor him if he were to say something like that.
In the past, there has been back and forth in Congress, dating all the way back. They've gotten to arguments on the floor. It's part of, having a republic, right? But this right here is not constructive conversation. She's not adding anything to bringing America. It's not constructive. It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to elevate her. It's not going to elevate partisanship in the government. I mean, this is just straight up division and the call for violence because someone does not agree with how you think or feel.
Yep, exactly it. Hey, let me say thank you to Filter Dog for the red pills on pill.net. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I really do. Hey, can I get y'all to do me a favor? Everyone who's watching right now, if you would. My producer she worked all weekend, and it's always a work in progress, right? It's always something to be done, always working. She's always working. She works very hard. But if you go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, she's actually changed it up a little bit, even on the mobile device. So hopefully when people go to it, and we actually have articles back on the website, which is absolutely awesome. We have articles on the website, and I wanted that middle article right there. Can y'all see it right there? The middle article right there with Elon Musk and VP JD Vance. They brought out an audio saying that JD Vance, and I'm not going to play it, but I just want to talk about it, and I encourage you to go to my website and look at it. But there's an article there with an audio saying where it's a recording JD Vance on a hot mic, and he's saying that he's upset with Elon Musk and Elon Musk is making him look bad and this and that. And you know what it is? It is a deep fake by the deep state. 100%. They are extremely desperate, everyone. They're extremely desperate. They're lying about everything. These are the same people that tell you man can become a woman. Same people. So if they lie to you about that, then want you to believe it. I mean, they get upset with you when you don't believe it. What else do you think they'll lie to you about? But please go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com. You can sign up for the free newsletter there as well on the front page, on the main page of uniteamericafirst.com. And I would greatly appreciate it if you find it in your heart to support me. And you can see right there, we made it smaller for everyone to see it. All the shows that I do throughout the day, the 1, 2, 3, 4. And every now and then I do little small videos. You can see all the shows that I do there. Really simple. And of course, you can see at the top where you can sign up for the free newsletter. Or you can support me by going to my merch. Or you can go to uniteamericafirst.com/donate, where you can support me monthly there or one time. Or what you see there at the bottom, right there, my physical address. So I would greatly appreciate it if all of you would bless me, whatever God puts in your heart to help me out. It's been really rough. It's been really rough, and they're trying to silence me. So without your help, I can't do this. So if you want me to continue, you want me to keep going, I'm going to ask all of you if you would bless me by going to my website, uniteamericafirst.com. Share the articles, if nothing else. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow.